Amazing. Again, thank you all for joining me. I'm Principal Jen, joining me for our first ever academic helper training. So excited to be bringing this type of support, parental and caretaker support to Cayocho. And thank you for pioneering this effort. Nati will be joining us as soon as she comes back to support with facilitation and also to be another resource if there are any questions or comments. So before we start sharing the slides, let's just do a quick round of introductions. I'm going to just go ahead and use the names that I see here on the screen in the order in which they appear. And you can just introduce yourself by saying your name, the grade of your student or students, and why you chose to become an academic helper, okay? So I will start with Miss Martha.
Hi, I'm Martha Larkin. I have two granddaughters there, Ezra and Maya Pashai. They're in second grade and pre-K 4. And it's another way for me to bond with them. And in my past, I'm retired. I was a teacher of Spanish and English both in my career. So kind of interesting to get back in the classroom briefly.
Thank you, Martha, for joining us. We're happy to have you with us. Next, Miss Maya.
Hi, everyone. I'm Maya Naylor. My daughter Olivia is in second grade, Los Robles, and I love being a part of the school community. I'm just happy to be able to participate.
And we're happy to have you. Thank you, Miss Maya. Miss Molly.
Hi, everyone. I'm Molly. I have two daughters at the school, a second grader in Robles with Maya's daughter and a third grader, Gardenia. So I'm so excited about this program. I have been fascinated, throughout the pandemic of the different needs of my own children. And I feel like there's, such a wide spectrum of where people are right now, children, and anything I can do to help. I just want to do whatever I can because I love being part of this community too. And I just want to see everyone succeed.
We're happy to have your help. Thank you so much, Miss Molly. Miss Holly.
Yeah, we need a Polly here, right, to pull it out. I'm Holly Kubler. I have two first graders, and I am here. I really like all the first, I know a lot of them. I really like them and I like hanging out with them, and I'm excited to help them in a more structured way.
Thank you, Miss Holly. Miss Olga.
Hello, everyone. I'm Olga. I have two daughters, one in pre-K 4, another in first grade. We're a bilingual family and absolutely love the school. And research shows that when caregivers are engaged in the school community, everyone succeeds. So we're in here.
Yes, we believe strongly in that research, and we're so happy that the restrictions have eased up and we can lead into that research, right? Those best practices. Thank you so much. Miss Christina. My cousin.
Exactly. Jen and I are cousins. Love it. So I'm Christina, also known as Tina, and Jen's cousin. And I have a kindergartner, Evelyn, who's a Chayotes. And I've been a classroom liaison as well for the last 2 years, which has been such a great way to get to know the teachers and the families and the kids. And similar to you, Holly, I've gotten to now know so many of the kids in kindergarten and feel really close to them. I've been just enjoyed being part of it. So if this is another way to get to know and spend more time and help out, that'd be great. And I have years of being a French and English teacher as well. So this is also awesome to kind of get back in the classroom.
Awesome. So you could definitely use those skills in the classroom. And that was just a little inside joke. I actually have a cousin named Christina Crawley. So when I first saw her on the Zoom, her video was off. And I'm like, oh my God, did she come and didn't tell me? And so then when I saw, I was like, oh, that's definitely not my cousin. So that's a little inside joke.
We've been connected ever since, so it's great.
All right, Miss Sarah.
Hi all, I'm Sarah and I have two kids as well. I have one pre-K 3-year in the Mariposa class and also a 3rd grader who's in the Magnolias class. I'm sorry, y'all. A lot going on. But yeah, so I'm excited to, just be a part of the school. I feel like I have as everybody has like a billion things going on. And so I would love to get more involved with the school and just be able to help out.
Thank you. We're happy to have your involvement. And Miss Monica.
Hi, everyone. Great to be here. Sorry that I'm off video. I'll be off video probably most of this call while I'm caring for my 3-month-old daughter, Maya. My 5-year-old, Matias, is a kindergartner in Los Chayotes class. And I thought while I'm on maternity leave, it'd be a good opportunity for me to give back in a small way and be more involved. And it's his first year in the school. He's really loving it and having a great time thus far. And I definitely want to do anything to deepen his engagement and of course, the other kids as well.
Amazing. I'm really happy that you all are off to a great start with Mundo Verde and hope that continues. All right, we have a few more people. We have a caretaker that joined us in person. I'm going to shift so you all can see her. There we go. You want to introduce yourself?
Oh, I'm Jill Miller. I am Connor Miller's mom. He's in Red Maples. And since we can be back in school this year, I thought it's a good opportunity to help out in the school. And Connor really wants me to be helping in school also. So that's why I'm here.
Amazing. Thank you. We're happy to have you, Miss Jill. And then we have Miss Nati, the co-facilitator.
Hi. Hi, how are you guys? Good afternoon.
And then we have our other co-facilitator. She'll be in and out supporting whenever, Miss Allie.
Hi, I'm Miss Allie. Thank you all for being here. Good to see you.
All right, so let's dig into it. I'm going to share my screen. And we're good for English, by the way.
We're gonna be,
Yes.
okay.
Mhm. All right, so as you know by now, by reading the notices sent out by the classroom liaisons, the family bulletin, and by looking at the survey I sent you, you will be supporting us for the 20 to 30-minute block called Personalized Learning Time or in Kinder Small Group. Can we have volunteers read the 2 learning targets that we have here?
And you want to do this? So she can read it too.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I can demonstrate understanding of personalized learning time. I can demonstrate understanding of my role as an academic helper.
Excellent. So I'm going to go back to the learning targets so you can reflect. So we're going to do a quick check for understanding or chart your understanding, but we're going to use our fingers this time. And then we'll do it again after this lesson. So you can track how much more you learned about your role as an academic helper. So think what you know about each target. So a lot of you, it might be like, you know, nothing about it, right? We're mostly on virtual, so we're going to do a fist of 5 protocol. If you are pretty sure you know nothing about personalized learning time and nothing about your role as an academic helper, you can show me a fist. But if for some reason you are an expert and you can lead this instead of me, then you're going to be a 5. So rate yourself fist to 5, and you can choose 1, 2, 3, 4, the numbers in between to let us know where you are. So I see a 1, I see a fist, fist. I have a 1, I see a fist, and a 1. Okay.
No, 1, 2.
And all right, awesome. So, and this is expected, right? So the goal is by the time we finish our time, at the end of our time together, we'll see some 3s, 4s, and maybe even a 5. And if we don't reach a 5, that's okay. This is a process. As I said, we're just bringing this to Cayocho and it'll get better. as we dive into this structure. So why PLT? Well, actually in her introduction, Olga's alluded a lot to the why that we're focusing on this, right? So students all over the world have experienced learning loss due to a lot of things. Presently, the big thing is COVID. But even before COVID, there are other sources why students may lose some learning or might not be learning what people would say would be on grade level or within grade level expectations. So our personalized learning time allows for connections with a smaller student adult ratio in order to better meet the needs of students, right? Every student is everywhere on the spectrum. And so for us having a structured amount of time consistently for at least 4 days a week, we can focus on a skill, a goal that a student has helped the teacher to identify something they want to work on, right? In order to move that student along. So when we're talking about personalized learning time, there are 3 core components. Quality instruction that's done in small groups is the main component. Within that structure, you're able to establish a strong connection with students. And within that, you're able to gather very useful data for the skill to assess the skills that the student has and some needs they still need to achieve. Take a couple of seconds to read through specifics on PLT, and then we'll pause for any questions you have so far. When you finish reading the specifics, give me a thumbs up so I know you've had enough time to read over this slide. See, we have a few caretakers ready. Take about 10 more seconds to finish it up. Any questions at this time about PLT or personalized learning time as a structure?
Jen, has
Yes.
this process has already started?
That is
Right.
correct. PLT is launched this week. And so you all will come in like about 4 weeks as the teachers are more comfortable and the students are more in tune with the routines. You all will be coming in about 4 weeks, the last week of October, but it has started. It's a part of our master schedule and has been from day one. So the students have really been spending time getting the norms, getting the routines down so you can transition effectively. So you have more time on task when you're in this 30-minute block. And so they're familiar with the computer platforms or the manipulatives they'll be using if they're figuring something out with math. So it has already started, but the official launch is this week for this campus. Any other questions so far? And Ali and Nazi, if there's anything you ever want to just, share, feel free to jump in at any time.
Thank you.
So what does PLT look like as a structure in a classroom? So you have, for most of our classrooms, you have at least 2 adults. Where that changes is 2nd and 3rd grade. For 2nd grade, you have a shared fellow. They spend some time in one English class and they spend the other half of the day in the other English class, for example. For 3rd grade, there's no fellow, right? So we've partnered with the 3rd grade to think about other ways they can bring more adults in their classrooms for this block. However, for most of our grades, you do have at least another adult to support personalized learning time. And you all will support that ratio even more by being the 3rd adult. So as you can see here, this is a typical 1st grade classroom where they do have a dedicated fellow. For example, this is a Spanish class. You'll have the teacher administering or implementing a guided reading group. You'll have the fellow who might be involved in a math skill session in Spanish. Then you'll have you all, an adult, the academic helper, supporting with a book club. And with this book club, we're targeting students that are at or above grade level with reading. Okay, so that's important to note. And then you may have another Mundo Verde staff member that's in the classroom just supporting with management. So all the adults can attend to their students. This Mundo Verde staff member, an extra adult in the room, will also support the independent station, which is the computer station. When the students are on the computer station and PLT, they're doing a platform like Zern or RAS Kids. Zern is the student adaptive math platform that aligns with their Eureka class, the Eureka curriculum. And RAS Kids is a student adaptive reading platform that's set to give them books and have comprehension questions that are based on their reading level, right? And so this would be the typical setup of a classroom. If for some reason you can't make the book club because life happens, then the Mundo Verde staff member will support with that book club so they can still get, those students can still get consistency and routine. In a classroom like third grade, where you don't have a fellow, the specials teachers are pushing in to be that other adult. And that can be seen on this slide. You'll always be in the room with the teacher, right? So we're not pulling kids out into some area in the school. You will always have the support the teacher. At the end of the day, the teacher is supervising the whole operation in the classroom. So that's important to note. Any questions about the structure in the classroom? Just gonna do a quick thing. All right. Perfect. So now we're gonna go back to our learning targets. Sorry, I'm going the wrong way because I'm not clicking correctly. And we're just looking at the first one. I can demonstrate understanding of personalized learning time. Just the first one. Give me a fist to 5. Again, fist being, I don't know why you're doing personalized learning time at all. 5 being, I'm an expert. I can teach anyone in the world about personalized learning time. Where are you in your understanding of personalized learning time? I see a 3, I see a 3, I see a 2, 3. I see a 4, I see a fist. All right, I see a 3, excellent. I'm just gonna ask Ms. Martha, do you have any specific questions that'll clarify your understanding of personalized learning time? Ms. Martha, you're on mute.
I just didn't hear what you said fist means. No understanding?
Yeah, fist means.
Okay, no, I understand, sorry.
Okay.
I'll do a 4.
A 4, I thought you were gonna say 5. You wanna teach this? No, all right, so I see a 4, all right, awesome. So again, as you get into it, as you talk with the teachers, you can always ask us questions. Your understanding will continue to grow. As the cycles happen, your understanding will continue. All right, let's move on to the next part, management. So there's a continuum, right, in this Zoom room and in this physical room of how familiar and how comfortable we are with managing children, especially if they aren't our own. As I said, you'll always be in the classroom with the teacher. So ultimately the teacher is leading everything. However, you will have a small group of kids that have your direct attention and you have their direct attention. So we're just gonna go over a few key strategies that'll support really basic management, okay? So read this slide on our philosophy of behavior classroom management at Calle Ocho or Mundo Verde, I should say. And then let me know when you're finished by giving me a thumbs up. Let's see if you, our participants are finished. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Tanisha. We have some participants that just joined. Thank you for joining us. All right. Any questions about our philosophy on class management? All right, before I move on, I would love to give some time for some of our participants that just joined to do a quick, brief introduction. So we all went around just to say our name, the grade of our students, and why we decided we wanted to partner with the school as an academic helper. So let's start with Miss Tanisha.
Sorry, I was figuring everything out. Okay, so I'm Tanisha. My daughter is in the second grade here in Mundo Verde. I chose to participate because I actually was a teacher previously before entering into the HR realm. So I felt like this was the opportunity for me to kind of get in there a little bit and still deal with children, which is my like absolute love and heart, but on a part-time basis because children are amazing. But yeah.
We're happy to have your passion with us. Thank you, Ms. Nisha. Miss Amanda, I think you're just joining us as well.
Hi, how are you? My name is Amanda Davis. I'm the parent of Joel or Joji Davis. He's in the second grade. And I just wanted to be able to show support to the school. I see that a lot of parents do offer support, and I know that it would make Joel feel comfortable for me to be involved in his school setting.
Thank you for joining us. And then Miss Tiffany.
Hi everyone, Tiffany here. I have two students at Mundo Verde. My daughter is in the second grade. My son is in pre-K 4. I am volunteering because I love children. I love teaching. I have a background in teaching, and I love Mundo Verde. I've been here since Calle Ocho opened, and anytime I can volunteer, I always volunteer, whether it's in the classroom or whether it's a field trip. I love you guys.
Thank you. We love that you love to volunteer. That helps the school community. So thank you so much for that commitment. All right, I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. Thank you for your patience. So a lot of our management techniques and our classroom culture techniques are based in responsive classroom. Feel free to look it up if you'd like to. It's a whole philosophy and a whole toolkit of ways we can actively involve the students in building a culture in the classroom and the school, actually, in the school that is one, responsive to each other's needs, but also safe, happy, rigorous, all of those things where everyone feels like they belong. So one of the most basic tools that we use here to support students in making the right choices and to uplift the students that are making really positive choices are the 3 R's: reinforce, reminding, and redirecting. So we're talking about reinforcing. We're talking about verbally naming specifically behaviors and choices students are making that are contributing to a great book club. I see Anna has her eyes on the book and she's tracking with her finger. Excellent job. I see Joji is taking his time to answer the comprehension prompt and using complete sentences. Excellent, Joji. Because not only is that student supported and happy because they're being noted for making positive choices, other students are hearing and they're being reminded, that's another R, being reminded of what they should be doing as well. This is a very helpful, useful, and a very effective classroom management technique that you can use in your small group. Reminding language. we use this when we start to see a student needs a reminder of what they should be doing, right? And that happens. All of our students, even us as adults, sometimes need a reminder of what we should be doing, all right? So do you want to act out with me?
Yeah.
All right, here's your notebook. You're supposed to be writing your comprehension prompt, okay? So I've already told my group that, hey, it's time. Oh, let me stop sharing. So, because I think you guys can't see, right? They can't see, yeah, they can't see me. So.
They see us very small.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So I've already told my group that we've read, and now it's time to answer the prompt by writing the answer to our comprehension prompt and our notebook. And 4 of my 5 students are writing like they're supposed to, but as we can see, Nazi over here may have forgotten what she's supposed to be doing. So I'm gonna be using very specific, brief, clear language, just a reminder, and get her back on track. Nazi, what should you be doing?
Something with my notebook.
Something with your notebook. Remember, right now it's time to answer our comprehension prompt. Show me you can answer your comprehension prompt. I see your pen is through your paper and you're answering the comprehension prompt. Thank you, okay? And so for a lot of off-task behavior, that is, you know, a technique that we use and students respond to it, all right? And then the last one, let's go back to sharing again. Yeah, I always like share or something. Yeah. All right, so here we go. So it's redirecting, and you saw a little bit of that when I reminded her, right? I tried to, remind her, hey, she should be doing something. She didn't seem to know specifically what she should be doing. She said something with my paper or something with my pen. So then I use redirecting language to specifically tell her what she needs to be doing, which is writing in her notebook, which she ended up doing. So for most of any off-task behaviors, especially because you're in a small group, that'll be very effective, and that's all you have to do. If something happens and the student's not responding to your reinforcement, your reminding, and your redirecting, tell the teacher and let them support you in supporting the student and getting on task, okay? Any questions about that? Because I know that could be a lot of information for some people.
Maybe you can click here so when you want to see.
That's so small because it has to get bigger. That's fine. And I can make it smaller again. Yeah. Okay, looks like we're good. There we go.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
And this is an example of what we just went over. Again, I gave you these slides. If you're just coming in, I'll reshare the slides again in the chat, and I'll give it out in the email too, along with the recording, so you can practice on your own or practice with your child. I use this with my son all the time. It works pretty well. It works pretty well. So you can use it before you come into this to do it with the students. And this gives you a little bit more information, just what I said. If you know that you need more support, have the teacher handle it. And so the last point about providing feedback to the teacher, we'll have something for the students to fill out. We'll have a tracker, a reading log, and then they'll have their notebook. And that'll be the data the teacher needs to make instructional decisions. But it'll be good to kind of check out with the teacher, right? I'm not saying have a whole 15-minute conversation right then and there, but before you leave, if there's anything glaring that happened, that's the time to tell the teacher. If you're in the same thing, if you had a really awesome, amazing session and everyone got through the prompts, that's the time to tell the teacher. If you have 1 or 2 students that decided not to do it, that's when you should tell the teacher. Well, hopefully the teacher would have been notified before then, but if you didn't get a chance to do it, that's when you tell the teacher. Let the teacher know that you're leaving and give them like a couple of sentences to let them know how it went. Any questions about that? Okay. All right, so here's a quick pause and check for understanding, because that was a good amount of information. And I'm gonna use the cold call technique. All right, so be ready because I might call on you to have you all participate. All right. So what are our school norms? I'll say based on. What are our school norms based on? Miss, let's see, Miss Holly. Oops.
Speaker.
You get prize. All right, excellent. It's based on a speaker. And a bonus, Holly, what does the speaker stand for? It's an
I was afraid you were going to ask that.
That's the most important part.
Is crew the C? Are the letters English or Spanish?
You can do it in English. So the acronym in English.
I don't remember.
It's okay. Call on a friend to help. Who can help you?
I see Maya on the screen.
All right, Maya.
I think empathy, speak your truth, perseverance, inquiry, collaboration, and appreciation.
Thank you. All right. What are the 3 R's of responsive classroom, Miss Tanisha?
I'm trying to unmute here. Okay. I know one is reinforcement. The other 2, I do not know.
It's okay.
But I know
Call the friend
reinforcement
help.
because I use that. So that one's the easier to remember.
Yes. All right, let's call on Miss Monica. Can you help her out? We have
Yes.
reinforced.
Reminding and redirecting.
Excellent job. All right. We're gonna skip the example and then we're gonna skip to an open-ended question. Why would these methods be effective? Why would these methods be effective? Let's ask Miss Christina. Why would these methods be effective?
Well, because you've been successfully using them in the classroom already. And they're a good way of being supportive and, you know, following a speaker in that sense, and trying to help people get back into things without making them feel, you know, bad or getting in trouble, solving the problem.
That's the main thing right there, right? This method of the 3 R's is the opposite, is not shaming. We're not shaming, we're supporting. It's a lot more supportive, and we stay away from anything, any behavior or any action from our end that can be considered shaming. Thank you so much.
It's also, as adults, a way to show what we are observing neutrally, as neutral as we can. See, we're not saying, oh, I really like when you do these things, you know, or that makes me feel really sad. Instead of putting it on you, you know, the ones that own it are the students, and you're noticing the good behavior or redirecting to the behavior that is expected.
All right, thank you.
I think we all grew up with I don't like.
Yeah, I didn't
Like-
have the 3 R's in my household, I can tell you that. Okay. All right. So now we're gonna move on to what you all signed up for, academic helpers. Let's see what time it is. Before we do that, we're gonna take a quick little stretch break just for about 5 minutes. So feel free to, or coffee break, tea break, bathroom break, feel free to turn your cameras off and meet us back here at 3 o'clock. Actually 3:01 at this point. All right, see you at 3:01.
Quick question, Principal Jen. So I have to hop for a call at 3 o'clock, but can I come back after?
Of course you can.
Okay.
I turned the waiting room off, so you can just come back in and don't have to worry about, you know.
Okay.
That's fine.
Cool.
All right, welcome back. If you're able to join us on camera, you can turn your cameras back on. If not, it's all good. But be ready for a cold call. I think we're almost done. We're done with cold calls. I'm just playing. All right, let me just make sure. See one. All right, sounds good.
Yeah, we had some parents that are going to go. 3 of them.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Thank you.
2 meetings.
All right, I'm gonna share again. Okay. So why academic helpers? We know that when parents and children and teachers come together, that is like the trifecta of having a healthy, supportive, and rigorous experience at school. And so there are different ways you partner with the school. This is not the only way, right? So when you show up to welcome meetings, that is partnering with the school. When you decide to support with birthday celebration, that is just as valuable in supporting the school and culture. When you ask questions or you're proactive about reaching out to the teacher, that is also supporting school. So this is just another way that you can partner with the school to create a really healthy, rigorous learning environment. And this is really targeted with academic support. And so what are some outcomes of supporting in this way when parents and caretakers come into the classroom to support with academics, like with a book club? We can see improved test scores, grades, and attendance for students, more engaged students, more positive attitudes from our students. And especially for our older students, we don't necessarily have high school students here, but let's say this was a high school setting, they're more likely to actually be engaged with education beyond high school when they see adults taking the same seriousness in it as well in an active way. So for you all, there's benefits as well. You have increased confidence in the school because you have a stronger relationship. You see, you're in the classroom, you see the environment. You have another opportunity to communicate with the teachers about other things like different academic activities and things like that. And again, you build that relationship and the rapport with your teacher. So there are benefits for both the student and the students that aren't even yours and you as well for participating in this way. So what is a book club? Let's take a second to watch this video and we get a interesting spin on what book clubs look like.
You know, I love to read, and I've always wanted to be part of a book club, but most books are too long. I don't have time to read 400, 500-page novels, so I found a type of book that does not take long to read at all. They call them children's books. Are you familiar with these? Okay, good. So I got a group together, and we sat down, we cracked open a book, and we just talked it through. Hello, book club members. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, everybody feeling good tonight?
Yeah.
Do you know this book?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's it called?
Good morning. No, good night. Oh, good night.
Good Night, Moon.
Good night, Moon.
Good Night, Moon.
I read this book before.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, me too.
See, that's good, Kate, because the idea of a book club is you read the book and then everybody comes together and we talk about what we read.
And when the story is over, you have a friend. If you have a friend, you talk about it, what's about it.
That's exactly right. Hey, do you guys know who Oprah is?
No.
No. Oh, wow. We're in a lot of trouble. All right. Good night, Moon. In the great green room, there was a telephone and a red balloon and a comb and a brush and a bowl full of mush. Good night, cow jumping over the moon.
Room and moon, right?
Almost. Good night, light. Good night, stars. Good night, air. Good night, air. Who says good night to the air?
Nobody.
Good night, noises everywhere.
Really? That was the writing book.
And that's it. Do you know what year this book was written in?
500s.
The 500s? No. Anybody have a guess? Yes.
The 16th.
The 16s?
Yeah.
No, not the 16s.
2014.
1947.
What? Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's from back in the day.
Was that was from back in the day? Yeah. It was back
In the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. What do you think this book is trying? What do you think they're trying to say?
They're trying to say good night. Yeah.
Mhm.
Good night.
I think you're right.
Story.
It is.
Oh.
In the book, why do you think they say goodnight to everything in the whole house?
I don't know. Because everything's good.
Where is the moon, by the way? Where does it? I know, but where's the real one go in the daytime?
It's in the sky. No, it's down below in the mountains.
It's in the mountains? What do you think?
Well, the sun, when when it's morning, the sun comes up. The moon goes back, goes down.
Into its cabinet.
What's cabinet? It's like a kind of drawer.
Mhm. They keep the moon in a cabinet, which is kind of like a drawer.
Oh my God, you're so funny.
What do you mean?
They don't go into drawers, they go into mountains. No, mountains are kind of like drawers.
They're almost exactly like drawers. Do you know anyone who's been to the moon?
Yeah, it's one of my uncles.
One of your uncles was on the moon?
Yeah.
Which uncle?
His name's Uncle Kevin.
Uncle Kevin has been to the moon? Really? When did he go to the moon?
In like 5 weeks ago.
Oh, how did he get there?
He took a space shuttle.
He took a space shuttle.
And he was on he was in a spacesuit.
He was. Wow,
That's what astronaut. They call it an astronaut, and they call it astronaut because there's like asteroids in there.
I wonder how many Uncle Kevins are on the moon right now. You know? You think that many?
1,008.
So what do we think of Goodnight Moon?
Like it.
Good?
Like it.
Like it? You recommend it to other kids?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now you guys want to go sleep?
No.
All right, so that was a bit comical, but there are some things that we can see in that video that you might see in your actual book club, right? So as you can see, they had a common text. In your book club, everyone will be reading or will be read to the same text. Also, he followed up with questions. Some of these questions were, connections to the text and the world. Those are some of the types of questions that you'll be asking your students, and you'll get a sheet prompting you with questions that are standards based, so you don't have to just come up with them off the top of your head. Another thing you saw was that peer-to-peer connection, right? They were supporting each other and making meetings of things like, oh, when you go to the moon, that's called an astronaut. Those are some types of behaviors you will see in the book club, right? What we want to stay away from, though, is misleading a student. So, we know that this is all funny and jest, but like the whole cabinet thing, we don't want to mislead a student and confuse their meaning of any vocabulary or any connections to the world and things like that. Okay. Share first. Oh, there we go.
I love to read.
Some other things to note. Your book clubs will be small, homogeneous groups, which means your students will be at or around the same reading level, right? This is not a heterogeneous mixing everybody's situation. During PLT, for the most part, students will be grouped in the same group, which is unlike the rest of the school day. So something important to note, right? Whether you're working with the teacher in a guided reading group, or you're working with a bunch of students in a math skills session, your students in each of the PLT groups will be grouped on similar levels. The only time where it could be mixed up into heterogeneous grouping is in the computer station, because there is a one-on-one depending on the student's level. As I said, they'll be discussing a book that they've either read or listened to. The text that you'll be sharing is just at or a little bit above your group's level, reading level. And then also they'll have time to talk about the text. After they talk about it, there will be some sessions where they're writing about the text as well, but that talking is so important. It should happen every time you meet. So now we're going to show what a real book club looks like in a school setting. Because of the grades that we have represented here, we'll just show a little bit of the first grade book club. Notice how the students are interacting and engaging with each other, and think about how you can facilitate that type of peer-to-peer engagement.
Language. Say that bird is dangerous, so don't go near it. I still disagree, because like the penguin, the dad or the mom, whatever, the emperor penguin, of the baby emperor penguin didn't do anything. Cat did something. So basically, I agree with Sophie and Ryan and because the babies don't really know what the bird is, so they don't know if it's like friendly or not. And so Jack tried to save the penguins, but the babies might want to play with it, or well, the one that the big bird was attacking was probably scared though. I agree with that. I because like that bird was trying to play with it. So once like the bird's claws were going down by the baby penguin, I think he got a little scared. Yeah, I agree that the bird is so big, a little penguin. And he could gobble him in one night. Yeah. Yes. Especially the babies, they're so small. Yeah, I agree with him. And Shayna, because just that mouth is so big and the baby penguin is so small.
All right, so we're gonna have a quick share out. What are some things you can do as a facilitator of this book club to encourage that peer-to-peer discourse that we saw on the video? And anyone can, this is not a cold call, anyone can share if they feel comfortable.
Would you mind repeating that? I'm sorry.
Sure, as the adult facilitator, what are some things you can do to encourage some of that peer-to-peer discourse that we saw in the video? So as you saw, they were very, fluid in their conversations back and forth. So what can we do to support that?
I think we could say things like, who else might agree with that or saw something different, and they can expound upon what another child has said, just sort of leading them to see how they could just agree, disagree, or see a different point of view.
Anybody else? Yes, Christina.
I think also giving them the space to try to organically engage with each other. These kids were good at jumping in and responding. Sometimes kids need a little bit more time. Maybe they don't always need a prompt, trying to see if things come out organically, to give them some time. Obviously prompt if necessary, but maybe it's good also to just see what happens naturally.
Miss Martha, did you want to contribute?
I was just going to say, yes, do you agree with what Jenny's saying, or can you tell me more about what his or her opinion is? I guess you could ask why questions, but that really isn't helping them interact with one another. Mainly agree and disagree type thing.
No, you're on the right path. So agree and disagree are some of the more obvious stems you can give them. But the tell me more that you put in there, Miss Martha, is a great way to expand a child's thinking. Usually a child will answer, like, yeah, I agree. And a lot of times until they get used to it, the adult will need to say, tell me more, or even why. And once the kid starts talking more, there'll be more for other students to connect with. So yes, please expand. Push.
Why more so than a yes, no question, I would think.
Yes, make it open-ended, right? So I agree. Why do you agree? Why do you disagree? Tell me more. That's an excellent technique. So please do that.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions or comments about that? Facilitating student discourse. All right, I'll share my screen again.
Actually, language.
Yeah, we'll make it.
Got you, thank you. Perfect. All right, so how this goes. So the students will first read an assigned section. It could be, all right, we're gonna read from pages 10 to 15, right? And then we come together, while they're doing that, we wanna make sure we monitor, making sure the students are actually connecting with the text. So instead of like eyes are wandering all around, we give quick redirections to the text to make sure that they're engaging with the text. You might have to, even though these reading groups will be our higher readers, you might need to provide light reading support. But again, if it's a situation that's a little challenging, have the teacher come and support with supporting a student in reading. But light reading support might look like reminding them to use their strategies, or that doesn't sound right. Can you go back and fix that word if they're reading aloud? But it's totally fine for them to be reading in their head if you can tell that they're actually reading. And then the facilitating student dialogue about the text, that's exactly what we just talked about. And then students after that, for some sessions, they will be writing an answer to a comprehension response. And so just to provide light written support, writing support would be helpful. Don't forget your period, or, it's kind of hard for me to read what you're writing. Can you try to use more legible handwriting, things like that? Making sure you provide feedback. Don't worry about the written feedback part. Don't worry about that. Again, once you're checking out, let the teacher know about any progress or any concerns that shows up with your students. So there are a few commitments that we want to go over. And this is a very important part of this training. So take some time on your own to read this. When you finish, give me a thumbs up, and then we'll go a little bit more into the ethical and legal responsibilities and privacy of student records. Thank you. Thank you. Have about half of my participants who gave me a thumbs up. Thank you. 10 more seconds to finish up. All right. So we're going to go a little bit into FERPA laws, which connect with student confidentiality. And then there'll be time for questions about this specifically after the video.
You're volunteering to help in your child's school? That's great. This video will help explain some of your responsibilities to keep the student information you may encounter there safe. The Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, or FERPA, is a federal law that protects personally identifiable information, or PII, in students' education records. In addition to FERPA, there may be state or local student privacy laws that provide additional protections. Remember, personally identifiable information in this case would be any information that alone or in combination with other information would allow a reasonable person in the school community to identify the student. The general rule under FERPA is that students' education records, which may include electronic files, paper documents, and other records that include PII, can't be shared without prior written parental consent. However, FERPA has provisions that may allow you incidental access to students' education records that include PII as a school volunteer. And while FERPA only protects PII in students' education records, it's a best practice to protect all student information. That means you should not share student information in a conversation or in an email. Student information should only be shared for an educational purpose, as part of your volunteer duties, and with individuals authorized to receive that information. In addition, you should take special care when handling student information to avoid accidental disclosure of PII. For example, let's say you're helping a teacher enter course grades into the district's computerized student information system. The students' grades in this system are protected as education records under FERPA. What can you do to protect the student information and keep it confidential? FERPA requires the school to use reasonable methods to ensure you only gain access to the PII from students' education records that you need to perform your volunteer duties. Under most circumstances, you're volunteering for Mr. Smith's math class. You shouldn't have access to other PII from the students' education records, such as their grades from Mr. Roberts' reading class. You should make certain others can't view the grades that you are entering. If you are given access to the school's computer system, you should keep your password confidential and log out when you're finished. Don't create a personal copy of the information and don't discuss what you've seen with others. Keep the student information in a safe place where it cannot be accessed by others. Finally, be sure you return all materials that contain PII to the teacher. Volunteers are important in helping schools operate efficiently, and now you know your role in protecting student information while helping out in your school. If you have any questions, ask a school official or contact the Privacy Technical Assistance Center.
Okay, so before we move on there, just want to say a couple of things before I open up to questions. So in short, for our purposes, what that means is the only person you're talking to about any behavior or progress is the teacher. The teacher will then reach out to those parents if they feel that it's necessary. The teacher will use this data for other instructional purposes. But whatever happens in book club stays in book club with the teacher. That's very important to note. As I've already told you, an identifying piece of information, I've already told you the book club will be comprised of students that are reading at or above grade level. That information should stay with us, right? It should not be spread to other parents and things like that. So anything that's shared, just share it with the teacher, not even the parent of the students that you're working with. Any questions about that? Before you go into the classroom and after this training, I will send out another Google form that'll allow you to indicate that you will commit to keeping the FERPA policy as well. All right. So we're ending our training session. Just to let you know, you will be supported with certain resources. You'll have a prompt sheet to support students with standards-based questioning to support their comprehension. You'll have talk stems to support, like we already identified some, you disagree, do you disagree, why? Can you say more? Things like that to support student discourse. And the communication log. It's really just the reading log. I should probably change it to say reading log. So we have evidence of the student actually reading, and then they'll be writing in their own notebooks that'll be provided to them as well. Any questions about the resources, or if there's any resource you think that might be supportive of you successfully implementing book clubs? All right. Here's an example of some of the comprehension question prompts you may get. This is for a 3rd grade book club. And this specifically is for fiction text, right? So this is a standard, it's connected to the Common Core Standard RL 3.1. And from that, you can pick any of these questions to ask the students to support their dialogue and to support their writing as well. So what are our next steps? Thank you for joining this training. Awesome, awesome, awesome. You'll have an opportunity to be connected with the teacher that you'll be paired with, or I should say the classroom that you'll be working with via email. I'll make those connections once I finish sorting everyone out. We had a good amount of volunteers. I think we had 28 so far, which is really, really, really good. You'll be able to get familiar with the text before you facilitate the book club. And then, as I said, I'll be sending out a form for you to fill out that will capture that you've committed to keeping our agreements. Now we're gonna open up for any questions that may have come up during the training that you haven't had a chance to ask yet. Miss Olga, I see your hand up, and then Miss Martha.
Yes, I think I know the answer, but I just wanted to clarify and to get it for the group. So I understand PLT happens sort of in the afternoon part of the day, and it seems to be the 30 minutes. So I would assume our time commitment would be, I don't know, between arrival and departure, 45 minutes to an hour. Is that?
So that's a great question. It depends on the grade that you're assigned to. So the first PLT block is actually in the morning. Third grade PLT block starts at 10. No, it starts at, it's like 10 o'clock to 10:30, excuse me. And then the last one is after lunch. We only have 3 grades that are doing this type of PLT with the volunteers. That's first, second, and third, because kinder has a shorter 20-minute period.
Okay.
So it's first, second, and third. You might be in the morning, you might be after lunch. They do not overlap. So if you had time to stay for a longer part of the day, I can schedule that. So you're visiting multiple grades. Something else to say about that is that there's not a guarantee. In fact, it's not a focus to make sure you're partnered in your child's class. I just want to be very clear. I know I wrote that. I just want to be clear because that has come up. There are different reasons why we make that so you're not intentionally putting your students' class. And it's really, and again, there's other ways you can see what your students are doing and go into the classroom, but this is really to support students that need it. That's the main focus. This is not really the time where we're going to make sure that you have extra time with your student in school. So I do want to say that. So your time commitment, it really depends on your availability, but it's going to be at least 30 minutes. It could be up to an hour and a half.
Okay. Thank you.
Miss Martha and then Miss Monica.
That was pretty much my question too, you know, what time of day and what amount of time, and is there something that begins right after school begins in the morning, or is toward the end of the day? I would be coming from a far distance picking up my granddaughters or dropping them off, so kind of depends.
No worries. You were able to put your time commitment in the first form, right? Because that's what I'm using to place people in different PLT groups. Yeah, so I'll be using that.
Okay.
Ms. Monica, and then Miss Maya.
Thanks so much. And I apologize if you covered this when I had to hop off for the parent-teacher conference. Is it a consistent commitment week after week? Like, will you always be paired with the same classroom? Is it because my availability will change when I go back to work. So I have a lot of flexibility right now. I'm so sorry. I have a lot of flexibility right now, but starting mid-November, end of November, my availability is going to change. So how do you manage that?
We're going to try our best to keep it as consistent as possible. And we're also trying our best to make sure if you have the time at a certain period during the year or during the month to help, then we honor that as well. So for the time that you are available, when you have more availability, you'll be consistent with the same groups of kids. And then once your availability changes, if it scales back or if you can't do it anymore, that's okay. We understand, but we will change accordingly. Then I have someone on the call that can't even start right now, right? Because of work. So it's fine. We're just starting up, and this is the opportunity to get to really short this to make the teacher student ratio or the adult student ratio smaller. So anytime that you can support is great. Yeah. Miss Maya, thank you.
My question was basically related to what Monica asked as well, that are you looking for commitment through the entire year? Does PLT go to the end of the year?
It does, but it's different cycles, right? So it's fine if you can't do it the entire year. Just whenever you can do it, we will schedule you in. I see Miss Holly's hand.
Yeah, I'm one of the classroom liaisons too, and I imagine it might come up that parents later are interested in. They didn't come for the first call. Are you going to do the training again, or they have an opportunity later?
Yeah, I mean, this recording is being sent out to the people who have filled out the form. Those are people who, that was an interest form. So I have a number of people who aren't on this call, but they just couldn't make it today. So this recording will be sent out. And I always think there's value in having live training. So although this recording is ready at any time to be sent out, I'd love to do another training, maybe like later on in November, December, it depends on how much demand we have for it. But yeah, we're definitely, I mean, the slides are done, you know, it's already packaged up, so I'm happy to do it again.
Okay.
Anything else before we close out?
I just wanted to say hi, Principal Jen. Hi, Professor Nancy. How are you?
How are you?
Hello. All right, well, it's been a pleasure. As I said, be on the lookout for an email with this recording, as well as a commitment form via Google Forms to capture and record your commitment to keeping our agreement. And we are scheduled to start, for you all to start in the classrooms at the last week of October. Before then, you'll get a book so you can start going over. And then that's about it. And if you have any questions that come up between now and then, let us know. We're really excited to be working with you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you.
Too. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.